Hello, can everyone hear me? Is this mic working? Okay, awesome. Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you here as a part of the MIT 100K Pitch Competition of 2023. My name is Ping King, and I am one of the co-managing directors of the 100K, along with my co-managing directors up here, Stefan Sayer and Santi Tagle. The MIT 100K started nearly 35 years ago as an idea amongst a group of students to carry out and truly live the MIT motto of mens et manus. They approached Ed Roberts, MIT faculty, and now the director of the Martin Trust Center for Entrepreneurship with the idea, and Ed loved it. And along with the students, he helped to raise the 10K that back in 1989 helped the organization get its start. And over the years, with help from our long-standing sponsors, the MIT 10K has grown to the 50K and now to the 100K competition that we know today. And we are so excited to be carrying forth the legacy and being a part of this vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem here on the MIT campus. But the MIT 100K is not simply a one-evening event. In fact, now the competition has grown to a three-part series of competition, starting with Pitch in the fall, carrying into Accelerate in March, and finally ending with the grand prize 100K competition of Launch in May. All of these competitions are independent, and for competitors who have participated with us in Pitch in the past, please apply again with us in Accelerate in the spring as we carry on in the competition season. With that, I'll pass it forward to Santi.
In November, we had almost 100 teams that applied to compete in tonight's event. And our network of external judges reviewed each application in the preliminary round. Our judges come from a wide range of backgrounds, from entrepreneurs to VC investors to scientists. This evening, the top 13 teams will present their pitches and answer questions from a live panel of distinguished judges. They will compete for the grand prize of 5K, the second place prize of 3K, the third place of 2K, and the Audience Choice Award that depends on each of you of 2K.
And before we jump in, I want to make sure we give a big thank you to our sponsors. Without our sponsors, I doubt we would be the 100K. We'd probably go back to the 50K, maybe the 10K, who knows. But first off, we want to give a big thank you to our platinum sponsor, Akamai. Akamai has been our longest running sponsor, and in fact, they were a runner-up in our 1998 competition. If your math is better than mine, you'll already know that that's about 25 years, and now they have a huge building a few blocks away. So clearly one of our biggest, if not our largest success story. So we are so grateful for their support. We also want to thank our gold sponsor, Morgan Lewis as well, who's been with us for a number of years, and that has continued to make this competition possible. Also, new this year, I don't know if I would call it a sponsor, but more of a grant giver or a donor is the Morgenthaler Foundation. David Morgenthaler was an MIT alum, and actually he gave the first prize money for when we were the 10K for the first 3 years, so a grant of 30K, which took us through our first 3 years of being the then 10K, now 100K competition. Unfortunately, the late David Morgenthaler passed away a few years ago, but in his name, his son and the foundation which manages his estate has decided to carry on his legacy by supporting the 100K competition this year. So this competition would certainly not be possible without their support as well. And then finally, a big thank you actually to the MIT Sloan Student Life Office. One, they've given us money, which is fantastic, which we love. But two, actually, it is very difficult to book Wong, let alone the Media Center and let alone Kresge Auditorium. They make sure that all of the logistics go smoothly behind the scenes. So a huge thank you to the Student Life Office for making this possible as well.
Thanks to all of our sponsors. And we also want to extend a huge thank you to all of our judges, including our preliminary round judges who volunteered their time, reviewing applications, providing crucial feedback to all of our competitors to ensure the competition's fairness. We really appreciate the judges' time and commitment. And now to introduce our panel of distinguished judges who will be helping us this evening. So we have a very, very esteemed panel with us, and I'll be introducing first John Hawthorne, who is the founder and managing director of Two Lanterns Venture Partner. Two Lanterns is an industry-agnostic $25 million seed fund focused on US and Israeli software startups. Prior to launching Two Lanterns in 2020, John was also the founder and 10-year-long CEO of Mass Challenge, who some of you may be familiar with already, the most startup-friendly accelerator on the planet. While John was CEO, Mass Challenge created over 180K jobs. And the World Economic Forum actually elected John as one of its 2013 Young Global Leaders. And Ernst & Young selected him as a Social Entrepreneur of the Year in New England in 2013. John earned his MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management. And actually, while he was here, he also won the grand prize in the 2007 MIT 100K competition and received as well the Patrick J. McGovern Prize for impact for his visibility and impact on entrepreneurship at MIT. We are also joined by Yuri Cataldo, who is the co-founder and partner at Athenian VC and head of generative AI initiatives at Autodesk. Yuri also holds, you'll find a pattern amongst our panelists here, an MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management, and his dynamic career, as well as an MFA from Yale, and his dynamic career has spanned Broadway, film costume design, to leading advancements in technology. He also serves as a mentor at MIT Sandbox, Mass Challenge, and the Yale Tri-City. And he is currently the co-creator of Autodesk's Global Open Innovative Program, and he has nurtured startup talents worldwide. Next, we have Hamilton Bennett, who is joining us as the Senior Director of Vaccine Access and Partnerships from Moderna, a company that no doubt many of us are familiar with. Hamilton led actually the development of the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine program from its development. Yes. From its development to its authorized use and approval, as we all know, as one of the earliest and most effective vaccines against the COVID-19 pandemic. And currently, in her role, she is responsible for the global public health and medical countermeasures portfolio at Moderna. Please join me in welcoming Hamilton. Next, we have Jifei Wu, another one of MIT's own graduate. He holds a master's and PhD from the MIT Media Lab and is currently the CEO of OPT Industries, a venture-backed company bringing to life and commercializing his vision for additive manufacturing at unlimited lengths on the micron scale. Welcome back to campus, Jifei. And last, but certainly not least, we have Jeff Knox. Jeff is an investment associate at Innispark Ventures, where he focuses on the application of computer intelligence to healthcare and biotechnology. Jeff brings experience from his time in life sciences consulting, where he advised on the development and commercialization of a variety of biotechnology and healthcare clients. Jeff holds an MS in biomedical engineering from Johns Hopkins and an MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panel. Thank you so much.
Last but not least, we want to thank everyone in the MIT 100K organizing committee. Our team members have invested countless hours to ensure the MIT 100K is a success, and without them, none of this would be possible. We want to also recognize our audio and video productions teams in MIT who have been super helpful in setting up also live webcast and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. We'll be hearing 13 pitches today. Each team will have 90 seconds to present their pitch, followed by a 2-minute Q&A from our judges. At the end of the pitches, the judges will begin deliberations for the winners and will ask the in-person audience, you received a card, to vote for the Audience Choice Award. For those joining us in person, you'll have the ability to scan the QR code in your card. With this unique voting code, you'll have access to the form and submit your vote to your favorite team. The voting will be opened once the last pitch is completed, and you'll have around 15 minutes to cast your vote.
And later this evening, when all of our teams have gone, our judges will go into a back room, have a productive conversation to select our winners. In the meantime, there will be food and refreshments outside in the foyer. MIT makes me say this, but there's no food or drinks allowed in the auditorium, so please enjoy all refreshments out in the foyer. And when the judges have decided on a winner, we will call you all back in. And you can also use that time to cast your Audience Choice Award as well. To all our competitors tonight, we wish you the best of luck. And to our audience, thanks for tuning in, and please enjoy the show.
All right. Now we have our first pitch of the night from the team Alcovet. Let's welcome Alcovet with a big round of applause.
It's never been harder to afford a home in America today. With the rise of mortgage rates, the income that you need to afford that same starter home from 18 months ago has increased by 45%. What if we had a way to bridge this income gap with passive income, say, from backyard homes? Well, backyard homes are all the rage right now, having recently been legalized in several states. They're called accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, and their rental income can help people qualify for conventional mortgages. The problem is, lenders today don't lend on future rental income. They also don't provide construction services. Well, that's exactly what Alcove does. So how does this work? Take Alice, who is a nurse in Seattle. She's got excellent credit scores. She's also got her eyes on her dream home. First, Alcove will lend a flexible mortgage so that she can buy the house. Then we're going to help her build a backyard house in her backyard with our list of qualified builders. Then we're going to help her rent it out. After 6 months of rental cash flow, she now qualifies for a conventional mortgage, say from Bank of America. And she can then take the proceeds from that to repay her original flexible mortgage. And Alcove takes a cut. I've got 6 years of real estate finance experience, and the numbers really do work. So in short, Alcove is not only a flexible mortgage lender, but also an ADU builder and one seamless web-based platform. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Awesome presentation. Love it. Great idea. I would love to hear a little bit more about your ideal customer, how you identify them, which geographies you're targeting, how do you find them, value prop. Just talk me through sort of landing that first 100 customers.
So I'll start with geography. The target market is Seattle for now, for a few reasons, but primarily they're facing a middle-income housing crisis. So nurses, firefighters can't afford a starter home. The median house in Seattle starts at $800,000, and so most families can't afford that, so that's why. Also, Seattle is extremely ADU friendly. There are actually more ADUs built in Seattle today than single-family homes. They've been very accepting of this new concept in order to improve the housing crisis. So that's why I'm starting with Seattle. To answer your question about customer segment, so I see my first few customers very similar to me. So you've been working for a few years, you've saved up enough for your deposit, but with the increase in interest rates, you no longer can afford the mortgage, a conventional mortgage. So these are people who have been renting for a few years, they have income in the city, they kind of want to stay near the city, but they're thinking of settling down and they need more space. So thinking of moving out of an apartment and potentially buying a house.
Are you identifying them through advertising? How are you attracting them into your value prop and selling them on it? Through mortgages or?
So eventually there are a few ways I envision it. So first of all, partnerships with mortgage providers. So in a way, we don't compete with conventional mortgage providers. We work with them because eventually our customers exit into that market. So we want to work with banks whose customers aren't currently able to qualify, and then they'll work with us essentially to qualify. So yes, that's a big distribution channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Team OR.
Our company's mission is to help save this planet from the perils of climate change by revolutionizing mineral exploration. Because right now, we face a serious problem. The demand for battery metals to sustain the transition to renewable energies is already outpacing production capacity. Traditionally, mining companies have relied on deploying large teams of experts to remote areas and drilling hundreds of boreholes to sample the subsurface in search of ore. This process takes many years and millions of dollars, and it also seriously damages local habitats. Our solution uses a cutting-edge technology called muon tomography, which uses novel, passive detectors to watch muons passing through the Earth from space. It's like a natural CT scan of the Earth. We create 3D maps of the subsurface. Using fused data and AI, we find the location and volume of mineral ore. Our method reduces future exploration drilling by up to 90%, which saves the mining customers up to $15 million per greenfield survey. This technology is cheaper, faster, and less damaging to the environment than traditional method. I'm an MBA student here at Sloan, and our team is based both in Tokyo and the US, led by industry veterans and also consisting of a cosmic ray physics PhD. On top of that, we're advised by a world-leading muon laboratory at the University of Tokyo. Thank you.
Can you share a bit more about like the actual field test and the result? Like, how did you get the number of like 90% of accuracy? Like, how many tests you did? Like, basically, how well the tech works.
Actually, the number that reducing 90% is coming from our theory and data. We haven't done a field test yet about that. But theoretically, we can reduce the number of drilling to only a couple of holes because we only need that detectors, a couple of detectors underground to detect the muons. So we don't have to sample the minerals to see what actually is in the underground. So we can reduce, currently they're drilling like more than hundreds of boreholes, but we can reduce that dramatically to only few numbers of holes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does your technology, you just identify, you don't actually extract, or I might have missed that part?
Yes, exactly. We just explore for the mineral. We don't extract the minerals. So we basically provide our data to mining companies. So our client will be mining companies.
And how universal is this technology, or do you expect it to be, with what it can detect and then the surfaces through which it can detect?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. Actually, this technology detects the density of the underground. So this technology itself only detects will provide us the 3D density map of the underground, but we're planning to combine multiple data and using AI to predict actual minerals. So not only this technology, but we're trying to combine other data.
And so are there particular types of minerals that are not able to be identified today that your technology enables identification of?
It's not like that. So currently, what the mining companies are doing is just drilling and actually seeing what's in there. So basically, there's no minerals that the current technology can't detect. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to dramatically reduce the number of boreholes, is what we're trying to do.
One more question. So who are you selling to? How do you plan to charge them?
Sorry?
Who are you selling to? Who are your customer? How you plan to charge them?
Yes, so our customer would be the mining companies, and we're planning to sell our data. Basically, the 3D density map and the detected ore location and volume of the mineral ore, and sell the data to our mining companies.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Coming back next, recursive health.
Every year, US healthcare fails to complete 75 million cancer screening tests. These are things like mammograms, colonoscopies. And as a result, 35% of cancers are diagnosed late, when treatment is less effective and more expensive. Recursive Health is an AI-enabled platform that's supercharging cancer screening completion. And we do it by digitizing best practices from the leading institutions. You see, cancer screening programs today are broken for three primary reasons. First, hospitals don't always know which patients need screening. So we've developed algorithms to make sure that those patients are flagged immediately and automatically. Second, patients don't respond well to one-size-fits-all outreach. And so we've developed behavioral science-backed communication to identify and outreach to patients based on their age, gender, and cultural background. And third, navigating US healthcare is a nightmare. And so we integrate with scheduling platforms to make sure that patients arrive on time and we can decrease the amount of no-shows for hospitals. This approach has been shown to improve cancer screening compliance by 30%. That's the equivalent of 50,000 reduced deaths on an annualized basis and $11 billion of new revenue for hospital systems. In January, we're launching our first two pilots in Minneapolis and Boston, and my co-founder and I are both physicians and engineers ready to tackle cancer screening compliance.
So how are you starting your engagement with the health systems? Are you starting with hospital systems? Are you starting with companies is this a kind of a diagnostic compendium to treatments? What's your approach?
Yeah, so we've addressed our sort of serviceable addressable market by looking at large healthcare institutions that have oncology programs. And those folks are able to sort of internalize the most externalities by improving their cancer screening rates versus considering a small primary care network, which isn't going to benefit from the specialist care later. So those organizations, through both of our personal physician networks, are where we've started.
Why the focus on oncology specifically and not just any general outpatient? Is there a specific advantage to that? And will you not be competing against similar solutions that are more generalist and might be more appealing to the administration?
Yeah, it's a beachhead choice that I think really is related to the LTV of the individual patient that's being identified and engaged with this platform. So cancer screening is obviously big money to hospitals, and so that's super motivating from the standpoint of gaining initial traction, but we would definitely like to broaden. And fortunately, the cancer screening space has got a lot of stigma. It's not really seen as a way to be profitable. And I think that's because the previous programs that have sort of existed over the past 30, 40 years are very human intensive. And so it's hard to make an ROI calculation based on that, but digitizing it with a platform that's scalable actually flips the script on that.
And do these screenings already exist? Are you talking about looking at genetic markers or liquid biopsies, or are you creating, so are you identifying the person who needs to be screened, or are you bringing them the screening panel?
The initial would be the gold standard recommended screening that patients just aren't conducting. So there's 75 million recommended screening tests that patients aren't getting done. And so that's the first addressable market of just working on the optimization of the scheduling and the patient outreach to get those patients the recommended testing. But the up-and-coming diagnostic market is huge. So there's a whole new avenue to then partner with those companies as well to provide a patient cohort of testing for those companies as well.
And how are you getting to the patient? Are you making recommendations to a PCP? Are you going to the patient directly? How's that working?
Yeah, so it'd be direct to the patient. So partnering with existing kind of telecommunications platforms that have integration already and provide multimodal messaging options that we're able to then use the data to identify the patients, then outreach to them through Epic messaging, SMS, text, emails.
And these are patients that are already integrated into the system, so they're in the healthcare system already. This is not sort of trying to reach them in a D2C way.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have Econda. Round of applause for Econda.
This morning for breakfast, Orpal and Monkey wanted unlimited banana muffins and unlimited banana pancakes, but he only had one banana. Can Orpal have everything he wants? Why has the price of banana donuts increased so much over the past 5 years? These are the types of questions that elementary schoolers ask but never learn in school. 3 years ago, my sister Janet and I founded a 501c3 nonprofit Severs in Economics to enhance youth economic literacy. Since then, we've also launched a Wonderland Economics YouTube channel and authored and published 4 economics books for youth. Through this, we noticed a gap. Kids are curious but lack interactive resources in these subject areas. Thus, we've developed Econda, an inquiry-based e-learning platform that teaches K-8 students the fundamentals of economics, personal finance, and entrepreneurship through our 40 story-driven course modules and personalized AI mentor, Orpal and Monkey. Econda is designed for classrooms and homes, offering a site-wide subscription at $99 a year for families and an average of $8K per school. With a potential reach of 27 million families and 50K classrooms, we have a total addressable market of $3 billion in the United States alone. We're currently running 9 pilot programs at elementary schools in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and I've gotten great enthusiasm and appreciation from the students, teachers, and parents that we're working with. So join us on our mission to make economics, personal finance, and entrepreneurship accessible and enjoyable for kids. From me, my sister, and Orpal, thank you.
So you mentioned both, first of all, great presentation, thank you, great
Thank you.
So you mentioned both direct sales to families and then also through schools. Tell me a little bit, those are kind of different business models a little bit. Tell me about which one, if you think one of those is primary, or are you just trying out both and you're gonna see which one sticks, or do you anticipate selling through both channels in perpetuity?
Yeah, for sure. So we kind of based our pricing model and business model off of comparables like competitors in similar areas, such as IXL. And they offer a similar model with structuring for families, for individual families, for instance, if their school doesn't offer it, or through classrooms and schools and districts. So since we've seen various competitors have this approach work, we're kind of taking the same approach and kind of focusing on both families and schools and classrooms and districts. But starting off, we're doing like pilot programs right now with schools, but we foresee that it will be more like sellable to families first, since it's more like integratable into their day-to-day life.
Could you talk a little bit more about your content? So the videos, challenges, so are you creating that? Do you get that from a third party? What's that like?
Yeah, so we have 40 modules on our website right now under like the 3 different categories, econ, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. So all the content right now is created by the 2 of us. So for each module, it's like inquiry-based, like why are milk and cookies, or like are milk and cookies substitutes to complements, things like that. And for each module, we have a video, activity, a quiz, and a worksheet for students to do. So that was all created by us. We've like started econ initiatives 3 years ago, so all kind of content creation type of things, so we've been continuing that as well.
How do you measure the efficacy of the result of education?
Yeah, of course. So on our platform, we have a lot of quizzes integrated throughout, and our focus is a lot also on making a subject area that's previously not available to elementary school students very fun and engaging for them to pick up at a younger age. So we've seen good engagement throughout modules and quizzes and games we have on our website. So that's our primary target right now.
Yeah, And guys, for your original question, how we measure engagement, we have through the back end of our website, we're able to see the course module students have completed. The parents and educators are also able to measure their performance and see how much they've done over time over our modules, and they also receive certificates of completion after completing each module.
So if this is like a very big success in 3 years or 5 years, what's the next thing you wanted to expand the subject, or you wanted to move around in terms of age groups? How do you expand?
Yeah, so when we first started, we were freshmen in high school, and we discovered this gap after going back to talk to our elementary school teachers. And when we first started, we started with content. So we authored 4 books through Amazon and Scholastic, started creating YouTube videos in this area since we were 15 and 12. And then now we've realized that we wanted a more scalable version that anyone would be able to use and kids can log on and have this full experience. So I think our next step would be to expanding this very engaging platform to kids throughout the United States and hopefully in other countries as well. And we're currently focused on 7 through 10-year-olds in our first round of piloting. And then in the future, we do want to expand to other age groups as well, so it's something that can grow with the kid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gonda. Coming up next, Tarragon Systems.
Did you know that the restaurant industry loses $165 billion each year as a result of food waste? It's because it's hard to estimate consumer demand, so restaurants overstock their inventory, overbuying, leading to inventory spoilage. This is a massive problem in an industry known for its razor-thin profit margins, let alone the devastating impact that food waste has on the environment. This is why we created Tarragon Systems, a demand forecasting solution that helps managers of restaurant chains estimate demand for next week and order the right amount. Pulling historical sales data from the restaurant's point of sale systems and aggregating data from weather to holidays to sports games, Tarragon trains machine learning models to provide weekly sales forecasts at the individual store level. With a monthly subscription of $80 a month per store, restaurants can reduce their waste by 20 to 30%. Let's put this in dollar amount. So let's say with Tarragon, an average bagel store can harness a cost savings of $4,500 each month. Why Bagel Shop? Well, last month, we began our first pilot engagement with a 14-unit bagel chain down in Washington, D.C., and we have 2 nationally recognized chains waiting for us to develop our MVP. With the support of 100K and our team's background in software and food service, we can't wait to bring Tarragon to the market. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. How much data do you need on an individual store or a market segment in order to, do you think, inform the algorithms that you're building?
Yeah, so in a recent experiment, Tarragon's models training on 3 to 5 years worth of sales data, we were able to achieve an accuracy rate of 83%. And we believe that as our client base grows, we believe that the predictive quality will continue to improve, and we're only starting with that.
Are you building unique models for each store or for each implementation?
Yes, so we are training machine learning models at the individual store level because it has to be location-based. We want to know that what customer demand is going to be like at that individual store because every location has its own demographic and reasons why shoppers go to that particular location.
And so how transferable would your models be to new stores?
So we would want to find similar demographics, similar factors, and to be able to make generalizations. But we want it to be tailored to the store as well. So yes, it will be specific to the store, but we want to learn as much as we can as our customer base grows.
So not all food spoilage is due to demand issues. Some of it is damaged packaging or bought and return or other elements like that. Have you guys done any analysis on what percentage of actual food waste is due to demand problems rather than just shelf life, or is it that's driven by shelf life and demand problems?
So we actually talked to a bunch of restaurant chain managers, and there is a target food cost percentage that they want to get at. And to lower that, demand forecasting is a quick lever for them to pull to be able to lower that percentage. As you mentioned, part of it can come from mishandling, part of it can come from other factors, but they found that demand forecasting as a very quick way to lower that percentage.
So it says you work with independent grocers and small-size restaurant chains. How did you choose those demographics?
So we've recently narrowed our focus just on restaurant chains because that's where we've seen the most traction. We initially started with independent grocers because these are multi-unit grocery chains that have a headquarter that cares about food costs and have seen them grow over time. And with inflation, it's eating into their profit margin. So they care about this, but they don't quite have the capability to do something about it. So they're at the cusp of adoption for this technology. Thank you.
Okay, next let's hear from PathFlow.
So you guys are just gonna have shared.
Yeah.
After surgery, up to 50% of the analysis done to diagnose your disease in pathology laboratories is wasted time and money. And that's because pathology relies on an inefficient way of visually and physically examining your tissue to identify regions of interest for their analysis that places a huge burden on our healthcare system. I'm Diana, the founder and CEO of PathFlow, and spin out from JJ Hu's lab in material science, and we are building a solution to equip pathologists with an AI-enabled 3D imaging system with microscopic resolution that can accurately and efficiently identify disease to streamline pathology analyses and save money and time for the pathologist, the hospital, and the patient. We are harnessing the power of silicon photonics to miniaturize a medical imaging system onto a chip, an innovation ranked by Nature Communications as one of their top 50 papers in physics. Our breakthrough innovation offers unparalleled speed and a critically low cost that allows us to have a lower barrier to entry into clinics everywhere. With a device costing under $100,000, an average-sized hospital can save up to $500,000 per year in pathology costs. But our vision goes beyond just saving money. We're speeding up diagnoses, and we're driving a paradigm shift in pathology that will echo across the healthcare landscape. Thank you.
What's the current type of diseases and then diagnostic you are focusing on that has the most accuracy?
Yeah. So the organ where this is the main pain point is in breast disease. So lumpectomies and mastectomies, followed by prostate, GI, as well as lung. These are diseases where they have the most trouble identifying the regions of interest. And we have a 100-patient study from my PhD at Columbia, where I work with Dr. James McLean on 100 patients of breast disease to test. And now at MIT, we're working on the miniaturized version, specifically to allow access to the market.
So are you working in the actual biopsy room, trying to speed the Rose style, try to speed the biopsy, or are we trying to speed the evaluation of the biopsy outside of that room?
Great question. So once it hits pathology, specifically surgical specimens, so downstream we'll think about biopsy, but specifically in pathology, it enters the gross room, then goes to the histology lab, and then the pathologist's microscope. So we're in the grossing room.
Got it. Okay.
So it's the entry point for pathology.
Okay. And do you want to work beside the pathologist? Are you trying to replace how are you working alongside a pathologist, maybe?
Yes. So this is specifically interfering with what the physician's assistant does. So tissues are, first grossed by a physician's assistant, and then slides are made by a histology technician, and then those are reviewed by a pathologist. So this is interfering with the physician's assistant work to assist them, because right now they're doing it visually and just feeling your tissue, which is an old way of doing things. But then this will downstream affect the histotechnician's work, and the pathologists work. And right now there's a huge labor shortage in histology technicians and PAs. And then pathologists are also entering a digital pathology revolution.
Thank you.
And you mentioned that like the current solution, the alternatives is very kind of like a labor, people just look at it and feel it. Beside your solution you're proposing, what are some of the other solutions you are aware of people competing in this space?
So right now there is at least one company working on lymph node detection. So that's something that some hospitals are using. It can only identify lymph nodes, which is one of the things that physician's assistants search for. Yeah. So we're providing something very broad. And then the other closest thing is like a portable X-ray machine, which can only find surgical clips because it's metal, and it shows up in a surgical specimen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, up next we have DNA Velcro.
Hello, everybody. I'm Fotis from DNA Velcro, and I'm excited to share with all of you how we're using DNA, the fundamental building block of life, to transform carbon dioxide from waste to value. Think now of the 2050 net zero emissions target. We cannot achieve this just by reducing the production of emissions. We need to actively remove carbon from the atmosphere. Today, carbon removal technologies are very expensive. However, they will become necessary as new regulations emerge. At DNA Velcro, we're helping companies see this as an opportunity instead of as a burden. More specifically, we're using DNA to efficiently convert carbon dioxide to carbon monoxide, which is an essential input for products like fertilizers, plastics, and clean fuels. Our innovation comes from a patented electrolyzer technology developed at the first lab of MIT's Chemical Engineering Department. With the use of DNA, we are reducing the energy that is required for the carbon monoxide production. Thus, we're lowering the cost from $600 per ton to $350 per ton. With this technology, we aim to become an electrolyzer manufacturer and target the ammonia as well as the sustainable aviation fuel market, which together are worth $80 billion. So, if you're passionate about a future where we can use carbon as a valuable resource, join our mission. Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the tech? I'm not sure that I fully understand how DNA is involved in the conversion process.
Yeah, so we're manufacturing an electrolyzer. So it's a device that can have as an input carbon dioxide, and it can have many different outputs. However, we decide to focus on carbon monoxide. Within the electrolyzer, we have the catalyst, and we have the electrode. So by putting DNA inside this whole process, we're managing to increase the selectivity, so we manage to have more carbon monoxide as output. We manage to reduce the energy that is required for the carbon dioxide conversion. We are also increasing the lifetime of the electrode. And finally, we can use much less expensive catalysts.
What's your cost for that? Like, you know, you have, I assume the DNA is your consumables, and then you have your input of carbon dioxide. Like, what's the cost that, I don't like what's usually like you measure by cubic meter or like whichever way, yeah.
So the initial, actually the commercial size plants are actually have very, very good economics. This is top line. The cost of DNA is actually very, very low. We are assuming that we're actually buying some of the carbon dioxide, but actually, as of right now, there are many companies that are paying people to take carbon dioxide off their hands. But just to give you a sense of like a project economics, what we're looking at is like a initial payback period of 2.9 years and a very positive IRR of almost 30%. And that's largely because we're able to produce carbon monoxide at $350 per ton, which is about a 40% margin on the sale price of $600 per ton.
Do you need to charge a premium for the carbon monoxide you produce for that, or it's basically whichever how that market price is?
So carbon monoxide is a commodity at this point, and the reason why we're targeting ammonia, ethylene, and some of these sustainable fuels is because they use carbon monoxide in their production, so we're charging at the market rate.
What does a proof of concept for your technology look like? What will you need to prove to be able to begin scaling?
So right now, the technology is ready, and the first lab is developing our prototype electrolyzer, which is going to have as output 10 liters of carbon monoxide per day. And then we will increase the capacity. The next phase is going to be 0.5 tons of carbon monoxide per day. And when we find the demo plan, we aspire to reach up to 50 tons of carbon monoxide per day.
Who are your first 5 customers?
Yeah, so firstly, we will start with ammonia. The reason for choosing ammonia is because the outflow has high carbon dioxide purity. And we have seen 30 plants of ammonia, which are mostly on the south. It's around Dallas. So we're going to target them. However, we have had also some other calls with plastic manufacturers like Chevron, ExxonMobil, who also showed some interest in our technology. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Ursa Tech.
Hi everyone. How many of you like doing homeworks? How many of you enjoy a 2-hour lecture on an 8 a.m. morning? Let's be honest, no one does. The way we learn currently is ineffective and passive. That's why we are creating a next generation learning platform. It's powered by multi-modal generative AI and decision AI. My name is Rachel. I'm a PhD student here at MIT researching generative AI. I'm the founder and the CEO of Ursa Tech. We are creating the future of learning. So our AI instructors can teach with tailored learning contents that are generated on demand using our AI models. For example, it will create animations that explains your unique confusions. To replace homeworks, we also built immersive learning with AI agents. You learn by interacting with AI characters who know you better as time goes on. You actively collaborate with them to solve challenges instead of passively doing homeworks. And for the B2C market, we operate both online and offline. We use our platform to teach coding, and we've opened 6 physical learning centers in both the United States and China, 2 of the largest education markets globally. Our platform for the B2B market is currently in use by over 100 schools in both countries. We've been profitable since last year. We're reaching over 1 million in revenue this year, and we'll reach over 15 million in 5 years. We are Ursa Tech. We're creating the future of learning. Thanks.
How are you training or fine-tuning the model? Like, where are you getting the initial data set to optimize for learning, and then how do you defend that, against other entrants?
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll say our unique competitive advantage comes from 2 points. One is we have our own unique model that comes from my research at MIT. So my research is on diffusion models with strong controllability. So currently, the models, it has a lot of hallucination effects. But we can almost eliminate that. The second one, actually our business, we started with providing classes directly to students. So we've been around for almost 4 years. So we've collected a large data set. So we have data that other people don't have. So that's going to be my answer.
Are these courses that you're offering courses that you created, or are they courses that the school created and then you're helping the students learn to that course?
I would say both. Both. So for our B2C market, we created computer science classes that are hosted on our highly AI intelligent platform. And those are content created by us. And when we do B2B, schools use our platform to deliver their content. So it's a combination.
What's your pricing model like, and what's the focus differentiation between B2B and B2C? Are you prioritizing one over the other, or different between them?
So currently our revenue comes from 50-50, 50-50 from B2C and B2B. So our pricing model for B2C, direct to consumer, our classes are just a little bit, almost on the same price range as other computer science classes. And for our B2B, the platform, it really depends on what kind of functionality. So we have different bundles, and as well as how many students are going to be at the school. Let's say it ranges from $5K per school to 20K at the school. It depends.
So right now you're focusing on the computer science coding side, right?
So basically, for our B2C, it's coding.
Yeah.
And for our B2B, it can be any subject.
How did you measure your approach of using the generative AI more personalized way compared to more traditional, I guess, just like people learning online and stuff like that?
Okay, sure. So we compare against people. So we, with our own students, we have like a large group of students who are taking coding classes. So we did A/B testing, and to compare. And for schools, for the teachers side, with our partner schools, we compare the teachers' time with using our platform than without using a platform, and they get a huge boost in their daily workflow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, let's welcome Maxi Charge.
Okay, so the Philippines is home to over 4 million gas-powered tricycles, also known as tuk-tuks. And there are over half of tuk-tuk drivers rent their vehicles daily. This leaves them making less than $8 per day. And this is what is the problem. Something that we all take for granted, which is a lack of access to financing. Many of these tuk-tuk drivers have a dream to own their vehicle, but don't have access to the financing opportunities that they need to own their own vehicle. Many banks refuse loans to them because they don't have a credit history, nor do they own a house or have collateral to access a loan. So that's where we come in. We're developing a pay-as-you-go platform to allow tuk-tuk drivers to pay for their tuk-tuks in micro payments. So our proposition is simple. We equip tuk-tuks with IoT technologies in order to assess and track operational data, such as location and driver performance, and use this data to allow them to make micropayments over time, allowing them to build a credit history. At the other end of the platform, banks can now monitor their assets in real time and be able to assess default risk. We're proud to announce that we're partnering with a local manufacturer of electric tuk-tuks in the Philippines, and we'll be developing the system from now till then. Thank you.
Can you say a little bit about how the financing partners that you're working with use your data to do underwriting?
Yeah, so for example, for one, they're able to actually track the location, which currently they're not able to track the location of their loaned mobile assets. Second, things like the speed at which the driver is performing, the energy consumption, how long they're using it, etc. A lot of these can be used to measure things like depreciation rates and over time to assess, when they have enough data, to assess the likelihood of a driver defaulting on their loan repayment.
Is that model for predicting default one that you're building or one that they're building?
It's something that we're building, but we have to collect this data at the start through the platform that we're building.
Could you say more about how you're collecting the data, especially since you said you're retrofitting? How does that process work?
Yeah, so we developed a device that you can attach to existing electric tuk-tuks. It connects, for example, to the battery and to the other kind of electrical systems within the tuk-tuk. And then we also have a web platform that the bank would access and be able to track this data in a semi-real-time environment.
How much of that information are you able to gather that you couldn't gather through a cell phone app monitoring location, speed, other elements? How much of that is unique, and what's the cost also associated with your retrofit?
Yeah. So that was also an issue. So for example, with the cell phone, the driver could actually just leave the cell phone and it's not attached to the vehicle itself. So there's that kind of misalignment with trust when it's purely to a cell phone. In terms of costs, we got the device to be a bit around less than $100, but every time you can take off the device and then reattach it to other electric tuk-tuks over time.
So would you own the device, or does the tuk-tuk operator own the device, or how does that work?
Yeah. So we would own the device, but we would be working with financing companies like development banks who would pay a subscription fee over time to use the platform and the device.
Does it have to be an electric tuk-tuk, or could it be any vehicle where you're looking for financing?
It's particularly electric, just because our kind of vision is to help try to accelerate the adoption of a cleaner vehicle, when right now a lot of these traditional ICE tuk-tuks contribute over, like in aggregate, like 6 million tons of CO2 per year. And the government is actually mandating that some of these loans go to funding these. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Lime Alert.
Imagine you found a tick on your child. You're unsure how long it has been there, but you're aware that ticks can carry diseases with potentially deadly consequences if not treated promptly, including Lyme disease. Last year, over 500,000 cases of Lyme disease were diagnosed in the US alone, contributing to an economic burden of over $1.3 billion, a number that's expected to grow as Lyme disease spreads in the face of climate change. What if we could offer a first line of defense against this growing public health concern? Enter Lyme Alert, a revolutionary at-home tick testing kit that delivers results within minutes, not days. It's easy. Find a tick, remove it, crush it, and add our proprietary solution. If there's a color change present, that means your tick carries Lyme disease and you need to seek prompt medical treatment. We're using patent-pending nanotechnology that's both accurate and user-friendly. Our technology can be applied to other tick diseases, meaning we can scale worldwide. And the home health testing market has exploded in the wake of COVID. We're a multidisciplinary team consisting of a healthcare provider, PhD materials scientists, and business professionals. We bring the expertise, skills, and dedication for success. We're Lyme Alert. We're here to revolutionize medical testing, expand access to care. Help us reduce the devastating effects of Lyme disease. Thank you.
So great work. Could you talk a little bit about the accuracy of your tests and how you're judging that or gauging that?
Since we are going to detect the exact protein which is responsible for the Lyme disease, the accuracy would be pretty high, meaning that the tick had the potential to transfer it to the host. So the accuracy would be pretty high, especially because we are using a super sensitive nanoparticles that work based on fluoroimmunoassay technology.
There are lots of ticks in the world. How many do you think you need to detect in order to get a positive signal? And why are you approaching this at the kind of surveillance tick side versus accelerating diagnostics in the clinic?
So initially, we are going to aim for one specific tick, which is mostly prevalent in New England, which has some specific proteins, and we aim those specific proteins. And if successful, then we can broaden our approach and go for others available around. And there are a wide variety of proteins available that we can conjugate our nanoparticles by the molecules with high affinity with those specific proteins, and upon changing the refractive index and the medium, the color would change significantly.
And do you have a target price per test?
Our closest competitor is a mail-away test, so you remove the tick and mail it, and that currently costs $120. So our initial test would be priced in the ballpark of about $100 or $120. Interestingly, we've also, in our primary market research, have found that there's a much higher willingness to pay in people who have pets but not children versus parents. So I don't know what that says on a society level, but an interesting finding.
Can you also say a little bit about how you're going to market? Are you sold in CVS? Are you prescribed?
That would be the goal. So our goal would be to partner with a large distributor who's in the home medical testing space.
Can you tell us a little bit about the cost to produce one of the tests?
We're working on getting lab space right now to validate that and work out the pricing model for that.
Do you have a vague estimate for sort of a few of them versus also at scale?
Well, right now, since we are going to start with the protein that we are going to purchase, the price would be like relatively high because those specific proteins are expensive. But later on, if we work with like real ticks that people found on themselves, so it would be much cheaper because we are not going to pay for the protein, which is the most expensive part of our whole package.
And I think there was a question about why we were starting with ticks, and the reason has to do with approval. So it's much easier to go to market by testing in a tick versus making diagnostic claims for a human.
Great, thank you.
Please welcome Dandelion AI.
How much time do you spend every single day navigating through the various pages you have open on your computer? I don't know the exact answer, but it's probably something along the lines of a lot more than you'd actually like. Now, nowadays, knowledge is everywhere, making finding the information you need hard and slow. That's why at Dandelion AI, what we're building is an enterprise-grade, cross-platform, cross-device search engine that allows you to find information you need in an easy, fast, and obvious way. Now, enterprise search is a pretty well-known problem, and in the past it's been quite challenging to implement because searching and indexing through data is very difficult, and scaling this to the enterprise level is even harder. But our team is a group of interdisciplinary researchers from MIT CSAIL, and we've been working in this exact space for years now. Not only this, we're going to be leveraging our background in machine learning, natural language processing techniques, and UI design, alongside recent advancements in large semantic language models and cloud computing solutions to tackle this challenge. With Dandelion, you can simultaneously search through all of your company's files stored across Google Workspace, Microsoft Office, Notion, Dropbox, and more instantly. Now, you may think that right now what we're building is just a search engine, but at Dandelion, we envision ourselves as something being a lot more. We want to transform the way that people navigate through technology. At Dandelion, what we're doing is we're building the next wave of the software revolution, and we've just planted the seeds. Thank you.
What's the first type of a market or company that you're targeting?
Yeah, so our beachhead market is going to be VC companies. We essentially wanted customers like you guys. Yeah, we were thinking of industries initially that would have high willingness to pay. So think of like any industry or any enterprise where there's a lot of repetitive information retrieval, a lot of time wasted, and also a lot of money at stake.
Among what are the top 3 that you identify and then eventually pick VC? What are the others potentially you're thinking about?
Yeah, so the common threads of our customers that we want is like where there's a lot of money at stake and there's a lot of information retrieval and manual analysis. So we're thinking of after VCs, it's like the paralegal industry and then maybe like the finance industry, so IB banking.
Awesome, great presentation. Could you give me just a use case example of an individual user that is going to use your technology and the value that they would derive from using it?
Yeah, for example, for VCs, when you're doing a lot of repetitive information retrieval, when performing like due diligence, you might have reports that you get from emails that's also in cloud platforms, and you also have notes that you took, for example, during a Zoom meeting. You want to be able to aggregate all of the necessary information for you to perform your task, and we're building Dandelion to make that predictive.
Can you just help me understand a little bit more about how your technology is differentiated? Are you differentiated based on the way that you're doing indexing, or some feature of the model itself, or some feature of the data that you're training it on? Just sort of where, like you mentioned, a lot of people have attacked this problem.
Yeah, so the problem isn't super saturated. Like there are solutions, but they're not super well adopted amongst enterprises. Currently, what a lot of companies do is they're searching across like cloud platforms like Google Drive, Workspace, Notion. What we do is we take it a little bit further, and we're also searching across devices. And so what we're building is like a virtual distributed file system across devices, across the cloud, across the hard disk. That makes sense.
And additionally, we've had extensive experience with UI and UX design, so we want to make a really lightweight platform that just helps you get your work done without adding additional software cluster.
How are you thinking about pricing and finding your customers and the kind of sales prop?
Yeah, so because we're a B2B business, we do have some VC connections for that initial traction, but B2B is more about like cold outreach, and it's kind of a numbers game for getting VCs to really sign on with your product and adopt your product. So that's like the initial sales and go-to-market plan. As for like the pricing, we're thinking of just doing like a B2B subscription SaaS-based service.
And the status of the product, is it already ready to go, or where are you in terms of building it?
We have an MVP, and you can search through like hard disk and a few cloud services right now, and we're planning on scaling the features.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please welcome Krabby Robotics.
Have you ever left a dish in your kitchen sink for a few days too many? Have you noticed a film of slime growing on the surface? This film is called biofouling. And despite the best efforts of modern paint technology, it grows in every cargo vessel currently at sea today. Unfortunately, it's far from innocuous. Algae, seaweed, and barnacles can all increase the drag of a vessel by as much as 9%. When multiplied over the 54,000 merchant vessels at sea today, we're looking at an annual cost to the industry in excess of $36 billion. Moreover, this problem has now become urgent. New regulations by the IMO require all shippers to reduce their carbon intensity by an incredible 14% within the next 4 years. Unlike the biofouling on your dishes, scrubbing marine biofouling requires more than just elbow grease. To solve this, we've created a robot we call Krabby. Krabby uses our novel magnetic drivetrain to cling to the outside of a ship and sweeps it clean of biofouling autonomously, guaranteeing optimal fuel efficiency. Krabby originated out of an MIT class sponsored by the MIT Lincoln Laboratory and leverages our founders' experience in rapid prototyping from SpaceX, as well as graduate research in magnetic design. As our customers seek to reduce their emissions while simultaneously cutting costs, Krabby is the solution which will enable them to meet their goals. I'm proud to present Krabby, making cleaner ships for cleaner skies.
Tell me a little bit about how the the form function. Like, not all ships have exactly the same form or shape. How do you sort of adhere to the different formats and get around the various sort of bulbs and not damage propellers and other elements of it?
So Krabby was fundamentally designed around the flexibility to handle exactly that. These ships have curvature, they have some protrusions, but not as many as you might think. And Krabby uses a flexible suspension as well as our proprietary magnetic technology to cling to the hull, which it then navigates around. And while it needs to maintain some clearance from the propellers, it's designed to be able to achieve a 90–95% of the surface area of these boats. And the friction from this biofouling is actually just directly proportional to the surface area. It's not form drag, it's skin drag. I can go into that later. But effectively, this means that by just staying a little bit away from the propeller and having the suspension to drive around other obstacles as needed, Krabby has the flexibility to handle any protrusion on the ship we might encounter.
Is it damaging to the paint or surface of the boat in any way?
So it's not. It's a very gentle cleaning. One of the advantages of Krabby's intention, where we can operate even while the boats are moving, in transit cleaning that is it's really gentle because we don't need to scrub off hardened barnacles or seaweed. It's really just a gentle scrub. In our tests on land, and also when we've submerged samples to see exactly what it takes to measure what we need to do to remove this fouling, it's really just, it is comparable to cleaning your dishes. You just brush it with a gentle brush. And so instead of the vigorous processes that are currently used, we can use a much more gentle cleaning cycle at a higher frequency.
Is the technology differentiation more on the suspension that you're talking about, so it's conform to any shape, or it's more specific about cleaning algae and those biofouling?
So current solutions are primarily underwater divers who clean these boats. We do have competitors in the robotics space, but no one has currently been able to crack the issue of not just suspension on a static boat, but also on a moving boat. And this is what our proprietary technology enables us to do, is to cling to a boat even while it's moving at 20 and 25 knots, and continue to cleaning in international waters, and really guaranteeing not just that it never gets bad, the biofouling, but that we have an absolutely optimum hull state.
And how do you price your product?
So Mass production costs were estimated around 65,000, and then we're aiming to sell it as a service where we sell not the robot itself, but a guarantee of a clean hull and maintenance on the robot as needed, priced at 200,000 per year per customer's boat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And please welcome our final team of the night, Rehydrate.
Water insecurity is accelerating. This isn't only a problem for the world, but also US military forces. Unfortunately, in the War on Terror, over 50% of the casualties were linked to resupply missions. And as we transition our focus to near-peer conflict, the risk of complete logistics denial is becoming even more of a possibility. Combine this with climate change, and US military forces face an escalating threat of prolonged water scarcity. The imperative for decentralized, point-of-need drinking water solutions is clear, and at Rehydrate, we are developing one of these solutions. In collaboration with NASA, we are adapting their forward osmosis water purification technology for military applications. Our product is a portable, mid-size water purifier, balancing mobility with purification capacity. The slow speed of forward osmosis has previously deterred mass market entry, and the products that do exist focus on either personal hydration or industrial scale uses, leaving a gap for our mid-size solution. And we believe that even slow purification is very vital when a counterfactual doesn't exist. Additionally, our market gap analysis, which is supported by NASA and a leading membrane manufacturer, uniquely guides our prototype development. Our team, composed of Army, Air Force, and Navy veterans, intimately understands the importance of water access. Leveraging our connections and resources from MIT and Harvard, we are rapidly advancing this innovative solution, and we are committed to being a leader in this space. Thank you.
So great job. Could you talk about, so you said slow, like what, could you describe what that means?
Yeah, specifically from some of the studies we've seen, forward osmosis could be anywhere between 20 and 30% less than, forward osmosis could be 20 to 30% less than reverse osmosis, which is primarily what the DoD is using. However, what we really like about it is its extremely low energy demand, and specifically the statistic that Jake quoted about the casualties during the global war on terror, it was primarily by shipping water and diesel fuel. So if you go to something like a forward osmosis unit, you're both producing water and you're reducing the need of diesel fuel as well.
And you said mid-size production. What does that mean? What's the output that you supply with this?
Yeah, so we're mapping this to basically like a military FOB, which we also thinks, which we can talk to more, but it actually maps quite well to like disaster relief centers. And so I don't have the statistic of like the amount of water that we'd be producing, but we would be basically integrating with their current, basically the water that they're expelling and trying to recycle it. And so as much as needed to basically sustain their operations. So this is adapted from the NASA's ISS, their water recovery system, where they're able to recover 95% of their water uses. And so we're hoping to target that as well.
Do you have a working prototype already?
So we don't have a working prototype already. We just recently signed this licensing agreement with NASA, and they've done some previous prototyping before. And so based like with the deal that we have with them, I think we get access to some of that institutional knowledge. But that's our next step, is to go build this prototype. And thankfully we have Fluid Technology Solutions, one of the leading membrane manufacturers, recently signed an industry partnership agreement to basically fund our at least membranes for this prototype.
What are some of the features you want to build on top of the technology license so that it's unique to you?
Yeah, so specifically, I mean, on the ISS, their primary concern was just reduce space. So I think that's also something that applies to Department of Defense and our missions. Obviously, it's a lot less. When we were talking, we spoke to an astronaut on this, and the cost of an extra liter of water is extreme. For the DoD, not as much, but we do like that. However, we're also thinking that we might have to come up with some hybrid solution that better meets the needs of the Department of Defense. So relies on forward osmosis and then maybe a secondary process on top of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you to all teams, great pitches. Now, voting for the Audience Choice Award is open. You'll have 15 minutes to cast your vote. If you're in the room, please scan the QR code and cast your vote with your unique voting code that you should have received in the card in the entrance. Please cast your votes to determine who will win the Pitch 2023 Audience Choice Awards.
Yes, and also just make sure you enter your code correctly. If your code is incorrect or it's duplicated, we will not count your code. So just be careful with that. And then while the judges are deliberating, food and refreshments should be outside in the foyer. We will let you know when it's time to come back in, so please stay close.
We'll be back in 20 minutes. Don't be late.
Okay, good. Let's go over here. What? I don't want your dirty ducky. No, get out of here. He's so gross.
Everyone stumbled. No, you made it very clear. The answers are great. You both did a great job.
I'm so grateful you came up with me. Like,
yeah, no, don't overthink.
Mama, I did the thing where I turned it around and then I
Sure.
I hope the judge
how'd you feel?
The pressure was higher. More stressful than what I thought. Yeah, exactly. I need more experience. I need like 6 jobs in
Down the line, if we need some money, we can call Brenda.
Yeah. So I voted for you guys. Can I get 10% of your...
Yes, free financing. Free financing.
You give them PF. Give them the
Lifetime supply of line caskets. Line business caskets. What did you give us this asking so we can transfer false for everything? A false for this. There's like 3 stages now.
Show them the photo.
But you must have a level of ambition. You cannot be too modest. It's a level of stretch target, but it's We're in the VC class, and then every lesson the professor is like, how do you do valuation?
This is the kind of customers you need to cater to. Pinpointed, toughest.
Very demanding.
Exactly.
Very demanding
Exactly.
customers.
Exactly.
Discerning.
I want 4 free tickets for Disneyland.
You're also a discerning customer. Shall we go makan?
Very long line though. Is it? Already have been.
We can sit here.
Nobody's
Masa left. Yeah.
They give 20 minutes for the break. Yeah. No, I think it's by vote, right? Also, they also vote. Okay. So like one guy, one judge can have 100 votes. Oh. Oh, audience choice.
Yeah, this audience choice.
Good job.
Sorry, what's that? Sure. Yeah. And when they do, let me know because I want to see the voting.
People to come back. Really? Not to Disneyland. I thought we were going to Disneyland. The VCs are fun.
Instead of telling you the prototype.
Right?
Even better. I remember Koji's question very first day when we had all these sponsored candidates had a session daily.
Ah, yeah.
I remember the question.
Yeah, I left the game. I thought we the game.
He said, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
He said he was sponsored. Yeah.
Congrats. You're part of Tarragon System, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, Ricky killed it.
I know, he really pushed it.
Yeah. Great job, Ricky.
feedback like an hour before.
I've been writing up feedback when you were speaking.
Yeah.
I'll give you your persuasive presentation 3 feedback.
He's a TA. He's a comms TA.
I'm a comms
Oh
TA.
my gosh, you're ready.
I'm
It's
so
just
ready.
hardwired.
It's hardwired now, yeah.
I just go on and check what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
I've already got my start date, start looking date, 17th of June. I'm coming back 4th of June. So I have to settle my unit in May. I was hoping that bottom up. Ideally, if there's one small finding coming to work, like everything, so you have to disassemble the writing or the disassembling.
How's everything?
Good.
You close?
I'm
Praying and hoping for one contract until
Is the food here?
I haven't gone up and checked, but I think it is because Sam said he brought it.
Okay.
But yeah, this is where we're at.
Are you going back to university department or
What time y'all think you'll be kind of revving back up? Like a little before 9?
Apparently, we're supposed to end by 9. Apparently, the judges are like halfway done, so I'd say probably another like 7 or 8 minutes, and then we'll call everyone back in.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be here. Thanks.
I don't want to, but yeah, because I have this obligation with my previous department. The way this company sponsorship
Oh, I did. Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, I know. That's very cool. say that.
How dare you?
Wait, they're still. Shanti said they're done. Oh.
They're done? They're done? We're rounding people back inside.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to try and get people inside? Then I do. Or one of you.
Santi.
I do. Tell me I just need to stand on the side. Sounds like it.
No, I'm willing to hurt, but I have a couple more folks from either one.
Let's bring out AI, big data, and all this also.
We're about to announce the winners, so hope people hear me outside, but tell your friends to come back.
We did not get to participate in how to use choices.
We did not.
Yes, the QR system is really revolutionary. I can also see that.
I think it's the Wi-Fi situation.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi.
I'm not sure we're connected already. Probably. Let me see. I think we have set up a last challenge judgment pass together.
Okay, that could be, yeah. Remind me, where do I find that?
Okay, we're going to pick things back up again. So I hope for those of you who have joined us again that you enjoyed our brief reception in the foyer. And now we're gonna bring our evening to its exciting, exciting close. First, we'll have Stefan do a quick review of what's at stake here.
Sure. So thanks, Ming. Tonight we have a few prizes. We have an Audience Choice Award, and the winner of that will receive $2,000. The third place winner will also receive $2,000. The second place winner will receive $3,000, and the grand prize winner will receive $5,000.
As you saw tonight, the MIT 100K is led entirely by student initiative and, as is visible through our judges, our competitors, a lot of passion. But we couldn't do it without you. So thank you again for being here tonight, both in person and through our live webcast as well. Give it up for yourselves. Okay, so without further ado, first I'm going to announce the Audience Choice Award winner. We ask that the winners of the Audience Choice, third and second, remain in their seats for now and then come up for photo ops afterwards. Due to some cost-cutting measures, we'll have a big check for the grand prize winner. So first to announce our Audience Choice Award winner, who will be receiving $2,000, is Lime Alert. Ooh. Congratulations to Lime Alert, the full family.
So I will announce the third and second place winners. Our third place winner, congratulations, goes to Ikonda. And now to our second place winner. Please give a big round of applause to Pathflow.
And finally, for the grand prize winner of the night, who will be receiving $5,000, the winner is Grabby. Now you can all come and take pictures and everything.
Can we have Krabby Robotics come down to receive?
Yes, we will hand this to you.
Don't look very happy.
Is there an official photographer?
Yeah.
The official photographer went on leave.
Also cost-cutting measures.
Get in there.
Get in there so he's not so lonely. Come on, you guys gotta go join him.
The classic photo of
There
the
you go.
shaking of the hands. All right.
Congratulations, Krabby. Please join us again for our next round of competition for Accelerate in March. But thank you all for being a part of this evening. Thank you to our special panel of judges. Couldn't have done this without all of you guys. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, well done. Great job. Yeah. Yeah. Well done. Good job.